So hold up. Now Gloria Estefan and her husband are in the middle of the Diddy mess? What? Hey, what's going on? It is Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and it's time for another Daily Diddy. Now, I brought you daily trial updates on the Diddy trial until we got a verdict, and well, it was a split verdict, as we know. Two counts guilty, the rest not guilty. His sentencing is set for October, but that does not mean that's the end of the mess.
It's been 84 years.
We have a lawsuit filed by a dude who filed it in the Southern District of Florida. This dude's from West Palm Beach, and he claimed that he suffered this horrible ordeal at the Star Island mansion back in April of 2015. And he filed this basically this year. So this guy's name is Joseph Manzano, and he said that he was drugged and essayed by Diddy's associates, and this all went down in the house of the Estefans. Now, some of the witnesses, he said, were Jay-Z, Beyonce, and LeBron James. Well, that didn't hold water because evidence clearly showed they were nowhere near Miami when this was supposedly happening. So he went and then amended his lawsuit to take their names out because there was no evidence of it, right? So his main claim was that he was, and this is, bear with me, this is freaky as hell. So he said that he was paraded around this party with a phallic mask. Y'all can look up what phallic means. And that he was transported between Diddy's house and the Estefans' house through this secret hidden tunnel. Ooh. And so, well, at the time, the Estefans did own the house next to Diddy's. This was not a secret. And, this is all one Star Island, two Star Island. So they're literally neighbors. So after Manzaro filed his lawsuit, he was like, these people did this to me, whatever. The Estefans were like, get our names out of your mouth. There was absolutely no parties thrown at the property between 2012 and 2019. They're like, we got all the receipts, we have all the necessary documentation to support these facts, and we will provide it in court. And then what happened? On July 27th, the judge dismissed the case against the Estefans, saying that, hey, there was no factual basis for this to go forward, that the family members were staying in the house at the time of the incident, and if random people had shown up to party, those family members would have let the Estefans know and been like, hey, we've got a problem here. And they just kept saying, like, particularly knowing the occupants, I know that no parties were thrown during that time. So that tells me, again, these aren't party people. Maybe it was elderly relatives or young kids or something like that, but they were like, we don't get down like that. So the judge threw this whole thing out saying, hey, there's a lack of evidence. And now with that lawsuit closed, the Estefans are like, oh, we're getting the bag here. So they are now going to file a lawsuit for damages to their reputation and all of that, because this was a baseless lawsuit. And they were like, listen, the only fact in this whole scenario is that we owned a home many years ago next to Combs. That's it. There was no tunnel. Such a thing does not exist. And also, let's be realistic, okay? Star Island is a man-made island. I've been saying this from forever, and people were like, oh, yeah, there's this tunnel. I'm like, yeah, I've lived in Miami for over 20 years, okay? Like, I could literally see Star Island from my window. There's no tunnel. Literally, this island is man-made, and it was made by dredging up sand. So you can't dig very far without hitting water, which would then make it like you literally would have to have had this massive engineering feat, and there's no way you could secretly kind of put this tunnel in. That's just impossible. And lastly, the Estefans had some smoke for Manzaro's attorney, Travis Walker, being like, dude, this was reckless to even pursue because if you had done any kind of investigation, you would have known that this case was full of crap. And that now, as a result, their reputation has sustained unnecessary harm because again now their name is mixed up in all of this, that they were having hosting freak offs and this and that, and they're like, we don't get down like that. So it's not clear when that lawsuit is going to be filed, and the amount of damages is a whole nother party as well. We don't know what that is. And Manzaro, and this is how, like, because I think he's got some problems here, like beyond this lawsuit. I think something else is going on with him because he even claimed that one of the hitmen that killed Dan Markel. Now, Dan Markel is the victim in the Donna Adelson case. Donna Adelson is standing trial for killing him over basically a custody dispute. You know, her daughter was like, I'm over this relationship, but I want to keep the kids, da da da. So allegedly, supposedly, the Adelsons went, hired a hitman, and, had Dan Markel killed. Well, dude, Manzaro is saying that one of the hitmen by the name of Sigfredo Garcia was part of the effort after he was allegedly violated, that this dude was part of the efforts in trying to keep Manzaro silent. So he was saying that this dude was like creeping up around his house, showed up on a security camera. He even provided some screenshots on X to say that. And then if you're looking at the screenshots and some of the crazy things that he was saying on socials, yeah, the math isn't mathing there. So I think he's got deeper issues, and that's just kind of playing out in the criminal justice system. But again, it's really important as attorneys that we vet our, clients and vet the case and make sure you really have enough to go forward, because not only does the case end up getting tossed out and you end up putting all this work in and you're likely not to get paid, because a lot of times attorneys will take these cases on contingency, meaning they get a percentage of whatever amount is recovered. So if you front all this work and then now the case gets dropped, you're out of money. And number two, you don't want your reputation getting jacked up like that you're filing all these frivolous lawsuits. Again, people won't take you seriously, and that's going to impact your bottom line for your firm as an attorney. So there's that. And so at the end of the day, if and when the Estefans file this suit, they're going to go after him for money. I doubt he has any kind of money to be able to give them. But to me, it's not necessarily about the money, because we all know the Estefans don't need them. Right? They don't need money like that. They're solid. But it is about proving a point, being that you're not going to file these lawsuits, bring in our names, destroy our reputation, and then just walk away like it's no big deal. And we're seeing something similar happen with the French leader, Emmanuel Macron, and his wife Brigitte, because they are taking it to Candace Owens.
I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully prepared to take on this battle.
And so in this case, Manzaro knows full well that the Estefans had nothing to do with anything. And he knows full well he wasn't trotting back and forth between the houses under some secret tunnel, because said tunnel doesn't exist. So this is hella problematic. It takes the attention off of true victims, right? True survivors of these types of crimes. And it just wastes course resources, and it wastes everybody's time. So he needs to go sit down somewhere. Well, I'll be back with more updates, because I'm sure more foolishness is going to happen, but stay tuned, because sentencing is set for the first week of October. So I'll be sure to come back in the days before that to talk about what the potential numbers would look like and what might happen on that day. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and drop some comments. Let me know what you think. All right. Take care, y'all. Resident Legal Diva out. Bye.